Hey there and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Luke. I run a company called Mo Agency. We're a HubSpot Elite partner and we implement CRM systems around the world. We focus on digital marketing, customer service and sales to improve our customers' bottom line. So come along for this journey on change management for sales. If you've ever implemented a new CRM system, you would have noticed that it's quite difficult to get the sales team on board. It's probably your most challenging element of the process. People tend to believe it's the vendor selection, the technical execution and setup of the sales process, the business process in the CRM, but more often than not, it revolves around user adoption and change management within the sales leadership and the sales team. So let me give you an anecdotal story about where I encountered this exact problem about 3 weeks ago. We have a new client. The CEO has decided he needs a CRM system. It's a large client. There are a few thousand staff members. Anyway, I traveled out to their distribution center to meet their sales team that were having a regional sales meeting. The sales director was there. A number of the important sales leaders were there. And I began to unpack what their requirements were, what they needed, what they thought were the problems in the sales process. And lo and behold, it just dissolved into let's just call it a difficult meeting. Basically, every way I explained the company, they said I was wrong. Every problem I brought up that I was aware of, they said wasn't a problem. And there was just massive resistance to change. Now, here's the thing. I sat with a whole bunch of people in the business, including the owner of the business, and he'd explained a lot of these things to me. Now, this owner's the private jet kind of guy. He really knows what he's doing. So he's decided he needs a new CRM system to push his business to the new level. He knows what he's talking about, but the sales team, not keen. So I'm going to outline how to implement a CRM system whilst accounting for this change that you very often get. It's not going to happen in every organization, but it does happen in many organizations. So how you negotiate and navigate this resistance you'll get from sales folk when you're implementing a CRM system. And, it's not just going to be sales folk. You also get service folk that need to use the CRM system. So this applies along the way, but I'm going to use the sales team and the sales leaders as a proxy to explain how to negotiate change management and navigate it when you implement a CRM system. So let's jump in. I'm going to cover 6 phases. So phase 1 is problem identification. Phase 2, vendor selection. 3, onboarding and setup. 4, the pilot group. 5, the CRM launch. And then the last one, CRM enhancements. And, if there's one takeaway and you want to jump off this video now from this video, it is to keep your sales team in the loop from the very beginning to the end. It really makes your life so much easier. You're going to be doing the work anyway, so keep them involved, get their opinion, get their feedback the whole way through. Okay, so let's jump in. Stage 1, problem identification. So, as I mentioned, the sales leaders that I consulted figured there wasn't a problem. So the first step is to involve the sales team and leadership in the problem identification. So we need to start with the premise that there is a problem. So we need to get agreement on that problem. So let's look at things like potentially a sales target was missed. There's a consistent problem where sales processes are not followed, and it's a lot of work for the sales leaders. Potentially, it's just that there's growth required in the company, and growth has been quite stagnant for a long time. Survey the team, survey the leaders, get consensus that there is a problem of sorts. Identification of the problem and involving them in the identification of that problem is the first step to buy into the project. And it really is the first step in terms of change management. Stage 2, CRM vendor selection. So this is often a phase that is led by IT. And whilst I'm not saying IT shouldn't be intimately involved in this process, they shouldn't be the lead in it. IT tends to focus on functionality and interoperability with other systems, which in a very connected world is important. But I want to focus on usability, user adoption, and experience of the people that have used CRM systems before. So bring salespeople and sales leaders that have used a particular CRM system before and had a good experience of it. Take that into account into your vendor selection process. Bring in operations teams, customer service teams. Take that all into account in your vendor selection. Going along with IT can be a problem. IT tends to favor things like Microsoft Dynamics, which are great solutions, but they're not fit for purpose for everything, right? Sometimes a more simple CRM solution, and we don't sell it, but it's called Pipedrive for a smaller company, is absolutely perfect. So my point is, take the experience of the people that are going to use these systems into consideration in terms of your vendor selection. Then choose a CRM vendor that has a good partner network in your region or country. It's critical to have a good implementation partner on hand. And if they've got a good network and it doesn't work out with implementation partner one, there's a backup. Don't go for a solution where there is no backup in the country and support and you have to rely on the vendor. Once they've done the deal and they've locked you into the contract, they're not likely to give you very advanced support in terms of implementation, or even support once you've done the implementation on the more advanced things. You'll get very, very high level young support agents that can support basic queries. So choose a CRM vendor that has a good partner support network in your region, and don't rely entirely on IT to make the selection process. Of course, they're critical, but involve ops, sales, service, and anyone else who might be using the system. Stage 3, onboarding and setup. So you've selected your CRM vendor and you are kicking off. This stage is all about a discovery period and then setting up the CRM to match and enhance your sales processes. Let me be clear, this is the number one and most important place to involve your sales team to enhance the change management process. If you leave this piece up to operations and IT, which by the way, I see a lot, you run a high risk of delivering a system that frustrates your salespeople. Remember, they are the people that are the extension of the company that deals with the customers. They have to be at ease with the system that you build and the processes that you build. They need to mirror the existing processes and build on them. Okay, if there's some bad things that we want to take out of the existing processes, obviously we've got to build that in as well. But we need to dovetail with their expectations, with their processes, to make sure that they work intimately with the CRM, that they track calls, meetings, WhatsApps, deals and pipeline movements in the CRM. In this stage, we're going to include things like pipeline setup, automation, lead rotation and delivery, checklists and standardized processes for logging leads, logging deals, building multiple pipelines, and all the elements that go into putting a CRM together. As a company, we've got a standard operating procedure to do this, just because there's a number of checklists that need to be ticked off. As you are building this process, we would urge you to do the same. Start with a predefined outcome, okay? And build towards that through this process. Pro tip: keep your sales leaders in the loop here and encourage them to share the updates with their sales teams. Even just a few small, inconsequential updates through the sales team will create ownership and buy-in as you get to the pilot and the launch stages of the project. Stage 4, the CRM pilot group. So before rolling out your entire CRM, it's critical to roll it out to a small group of salespeople that are tech savvy, open to change, potentially well-respected salespeople within the organization. We roll it out to a small group so that we can make small adjustments to the process before we launch it to the larger team and get poor feedback. Remember, it's really important to thank these people. It's also important to give them some benefit to being part of the pilot program. They're going to have to put in a little bit of work. There's probably some time-consuming feedback that they've got to offer. There's a few teething issues that they've got to go through. So be grateful to them. It really does help with the change management down the line. What you want to do to launch these folks successfully is migrate all their contacts and deals into the CRM, integrate their email and Outlook, their email and their calendars, whether it's Outlook or Gmail. You want to make sure they're tracking all their emails and calls and messages in the CRM. And you want to make sure that there's some benefit to them being in the pilot, potentially process enhancements. Maybe they get early access to leads. Maybe they get more leads that are getting delivered there. There's got to be some benefit. And as I mentioned, be gracious for them spending the time and helping you troubleshoot and optimize the CRM. It will go a long way down the line when you launch it to the greater team. They can also mentor people that are struggling with the system. Stage 5, the CRM launch. You've done your work. This is where things get real. You need to launch the CRM to everyone. It's time to do the Delta migration. So we take the whole data set and we upload it again. Any changes since the pilot are now passed into the system and we have an up-to-date system. It's now time to move everyone across. So that Delta migration is everything. Contacts, communication, whether it's email, meetings, WhatsApps, notes, it all goes in, okay? It's an up-to-date CRM and you literally move everyone that day onto the new CRM system. If you've done your pilot group well, you've migrated your data well, it works perfectly. The key here is to turn the old system's access off. There's not to say delete and turn the system off. You need to keep that active for a little bit of time, but it's important to force everyone together to move to the new system. We don't want people falling onto old habits like spreadsheets for tracking deals, not logging emails, calls that are unlogged, etc. We want them to be using the new system. So make sure that you force that and you keep an eye on the activity and don't let people go back to the old system to reference anything. Everything needs to be in the new system. Make sure the activity levels are high. All good CRM systems enable you to track activity across all the various activity types from meetings, calls, messages, emails, etc. Keep an eye on it. Make sure the activity levels are increasing, not decreasing. And the people that are a little bit behind, the laggards, there are always going to be a few. Offer them one-on-one training with your internal trainer, or if you've used a partner to offer the training, use the partner trainer and identify them and get them up to speed quickly. Pro tip, sales leaders must run all sales meetings and track all targets using the CRM. No more Excel spreadsheets, and enforce the golden rule. If it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen. It doesn't count. That accounts for notes, emails, meetings, calls, deals. So if it's not in the CRM and it doesn't close, you're done. You don't get commissioned. It didn't happen. Very important, and it really drives the adoption of the system. Stage 6, CRM enhancements. And this is an ongoing stage. A CRM is not a set and forget type project. Unfortunately and fortunately, it needs constant evolving. Sales processes change, product sets change. You need to move with the times. So set regular reviews for your CRM system. Listen to feedback from your sales folk, from your operational folk, hell, from your IT folk, and anyone who is offering feedback and using the system. Log it and review it for change. I cannot stress enough the importance of evolving a system over time. They're really easy to change, these systems. They're mostly low code, drag and drop. Use the functionality that the CRM vendors have empowered you with. Decide on how frequently you're going to review. Most companies review it annually. I would suggest quarterly, and make those small changes. Small tweaks to a system can really make a big change. So to wrap it up, a CRM project is far more than a technical project. It's not an IT project. It's a people project. These are normal people that use the system on a daily basis. It's about usability. It's about listening to feedback. It's about involving people up front and throughout the process. If you do that, the change management part of implementing the system will be relatively easy. I'm not going to say CRM systems are easy to implement. They're not. But if you do this, I guarantee you, it will make the process much easier, and it will enhance the level of ROI at the end of the project that you can deliver to the business. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you found it valuable, let us know in the comments below. If you feel that there's something I missed, also put it in the comments below and add a bit of value to the viewers of this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you soon.